Game over. China's real-life Squid Game as bloodthirsty black market sees men and women killed to order for their organs. Please hit the subscribe button right now and never miss an update from TNA Media for the latest and hottest news. Thousands of people have their organs harvested every week in China in a kill-to-order market. And with the horrifying details that dissidents and political prisoners are being sorted for their organs, China appears to have its own real-life Squid Game. The popular South Korean show was released on Netflix last month and has captivated audiences in over 90 countries. It quickly became Netflix's most watched international show in its history. In the dystopian thriller, contestants fight against one another to the death for a chance to win money. In a side plot to the story, humans are sold off for their organs, and while this is obviously fictitious, this is currently happening to real people in China. Human rights groups in China claim that the government is operating an organ trafficking network that has harvested 100,000 dissidents and political prisoners' organs every year. In June of this year, a group of UN independent experts expressed their concerns at allegations of organ harvesting that had been carried out on minority groups. Experts claimed that they had received credible information that detainees from ethnic, linguistic or religious minorities may be forcibly subjected to blood tests and organ examinations such as ultrasound and X-rays, without their informed consent, while other prisoners are not required to undergo such examinations. It added, the results of the examinations are reportedly registered in a database of living organ sources that facilitates organ allocation. The statement went on to say that according to the allegations they had received from former prisoners was that the most common organs that were harvested were hearts, kidneys, livers, corneas and, less commonly, parts of livers. Last March there were reported concerns that China was executing Muslim prisoners so that they could harvest their organs to treat dying coronavirus patients. The concerns come after Beijing boasted it had performed a successful double transplant op on a patient given just days to live. At the time, human rights monitors asked how the two matched lungs needed for the 59-year-old's life-saving surgery were found so quickly. Kill on Demand, the campaigning magazine Bitter Winter wrote, the fact that two matching lungs were found in a few days raises new suspicions of organ harvesting. The patient, who on February 24 was given days to live, had only to wait a matter of 5 days before a perfectly matching, consenting, brain-dead donor could be found. Whilst around the world waiting times for a single lung from a suitable donor could be years, China has shown this week that it need only be days for two perfectly matched lungs to be rustled up. One investigative journalist claimed there were fears that detained Uyghur Muslims were being used as a kill-on-demand emergency backstop for Chinese coronavirus patients. C.J. Wellman wrote, the fact that the patient had to wait a mere 5 days for a consenting donor to provide a perfect matching set of lungs, raises further questions about the scale and scope of the country's illegal forced organ harvesting program. Last November, a group of back alley doctors were accused of hunting down victims of fatal car crashes and trick their families into allowing them to harvest their organs for large sums of cash. A gang of 6, 4 of whom were doctors, were jailed for illegally harvesting livers and kidneys from 11 deceased patients at a hospital in Anhui province, between 2017 and 2018. Identify victims. Deaths from motor vehicles crashes are a big source of organs for transplant, as the patient's body is often healthy except for the trauma. Most deceased organ donors are brain dead, having suffered complete and irreversible loss of all brain function. According to court documents provided by the son of one of the victims, the group would identify targets, mostly car crash victims or patients with severe brain damage. Yang Xinli, former head of intensive care at the county's People's Hospital, would consult with Huang Xinli, a doctor in the eastern city of Nanjing, if the patient's organs were suitable for use. If so, Yang would then approach the patient's families and persuade them to agree to donate the deceased's organs. Once consent was obtained, Huang would travel 200 kilometers before getting to work, harvesting organs from the corpses in an old ambulance. The operations were hastily carried out without the presence of staff from the Red Cross Society of China or the relatives of the patient, as required by local law. According to reports, the organs would be sold either to individuals or other hospitals, which members of the trafficking ring contacted secretly. All 6 people involved in the ring were sentenced to between 10 and 28 months in jail on the charge of insulting a body. Please hit the subscribe button right now and never miss an update from TNA Media for the latest and hottest news.